You surely know someone who never demands respect, yet always receives it. Someone who doesn't beg for attention, yet instantly captivates it. They don't try to prove anything to anyone, yet others automatically consider them a significant figure. What do these people have that you don't? It's not about money, and it's not about looks. I've met people who weren't wealthy and appeared completely ordinary, yet possessed this magnetism. Even intelligence doesn't play the deciding role here, because sometimes geniuses remain unnoticed. The secret lies in an invisible force that changes the very course of any interaction. This phenomenon has been hiding in plain sight for over 500 years. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote that the most influential people in the world use this principle daily, while 99% of the population lives their entire lives without even suspecting its existence. Today, I'm going to reveal this hidden trait to you and show you how to develop it right now. But I'm warning you, once you understand this mechanism, you'll never be able to see the world the same way again. You'll start recognizing without fail who holds real power and who's just pretending. If you're ready, write this affirmation in the comments. I choose to be the hidden force shaping reality. The first revelation concerns the nature of invisible power. Our entire lives, we've been misled into believing that power means being loud, aggressive, and demanding. In reality, that's fake power, the behavior of weak people desperately craving control. True power operates in silence. It works from the shadows and influences events in such a way that no one even realizes the influence is happening. Think about the most authoritative person in your personal circle. Do they shout, demanding attention, or brag about their achievements? Unlikely. They have something else, something that makes people instinctively gravitate toward them. I call this invisible dominance, and it's the most unfair advantage a person can possess. While others compete for attention, you'll be controlling it. While others fight for the right to be heard, people will hang on your every word. The most remarkable thing about this strategy is that no one will understand you're doing anything at all. Ordinary people broadcast everything outward, their emotions, plans, and weaknesses, turning themselves into walking advertisements of their own vulnerability. Invisible dominance maintains intrigue and makes others work to understand you. Machiavelli once observed, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you really are." This is the foundation of our strategy. Control external perception while reliably concealing your true power. Most people believe that influence means being the most visible and loudest person in the room. But that's amateur thinking. Real influence comes from power that no one notices until it's too late to resist. Lock this thought in with a comment. Mystery is my strength. Silence is my weapon. The second aspect explains why predictable people always lose. Let me shatter a belief that's probably destroying your authority right now. Many think that openness and transparency build trust, but in reality, they make you controllable. When people can read your every emotion and predict your reaction to any situation, they own you, turning you into a puppet. If others always know what you're thinking and planning, you have zero real power. Look at those who consistently get their way. Do they tell everyone about their business and react emotionally to every trigger? Never. They keep their cards close, revealing information strategically rather than emotionally, understanding that predictability is the enemy of power. If someone knows your triggers, they can manipulate you through criticism or flattery. Machiavelli suggested judging a ruler's intelligence by their advisors, but I'll add this: a person's strength can be measured by how much information they conceal. Smart people treat information like gold reserves, while the weak give it away for free, then wonder why they're used and discarded. Remember, every time you say too much or react strongly, you lose leverage. Being impenetrable doesn't mean being fake, it means being smart and strategically calculated. Information is currency, and every emotion you broadcast is a weapon you hand to a potential adversary. Write in the comments, I am impenetrable, unpredictable, and unbeatable. The third secret is the weapon of the silent observer. There's a truth that can transform any conversation you have. The person asking questions controls the conversation, not the one answering them. Most people mistakenly believe that if they talk a lot, they're making a great contribution to the discussion. They rush to fill any pause because silence makes them uncomfortable. This is their biggest mistake and your greatest opportunity. While others chatter away, revealing their cards, you're learning, analyzing, and discovering their weak spots. While everyone else is enthusiastically performing for an audience, you're doing something far more important: gathering information. The art of silent observation grants advantages unavailable to those who don't know when to shut up. You start noticing details that escape others. You see which topics make people uncomfortable, which words trigger strong reactions, and you flawlessly detect lies, insecurity, or hidden motives. Your conversation partners hand you these trump cards themselves because they're too busy with self-presentation to realize how transparent they are. However, it's important to understand that this strategy has nothing in common with being withdrawn or antisocial. You remain an active participant in the process, but you act with surgical precision rather than impulsively. Your participation expresses itself through deep, thoughtful questions that encourage people to reveal more than they planned, and through remarks that prove you're truly hearing the essence of the conversation. You enter the dialogue precisely at the moment when your words will have maximum effect, avoiding empty chatter designed only to fill awkward pauses. Machiavelli wrote that since love and fear coexist poorly, if you must choose, it's safer to choose fear. But the deeper meaning of this idea is as follows. When you remain a closed book, people become confused about how to relate to you and ultimately begin experiencing a mixture of respect, wariness, and sympathy. Every conversation becomes a chess match where you're always ahead because you're the only one thinking strategically, while everyone else is simply reacting to external stimuli. Over time, people begin valuing your opinion precisely because you don't throw it around carelessly. They come to you for advice, seeing in you someone who knows how to listen and doesn't rush to conclusions, and your judgment gains weight through its deliberation. This creates a special status. You speak with meaning, listen from a position of power, and observe for advantage, which naturally elevates you above the general noise. Here's where a fundamental law of human psychology comes into play. Scarcity creates value, while availability destroys it. If you're always available and never refuse, you risk becoming convenient background noise. Your constant agreement and instant responses devalue the very concept of your attention. The world very quickly gets used to taking you for granted if you yourself train it to expect your unlimited availability. Think about the nature of things we consider precious: gold, diamonds, masterpieces of art. They're all rare and unique, impossible to obtain on demand. Your attention should work on the same economic principle. When you ration your presence, people have to make an effort to earn your time. Your appearance becomes an event, not routine, and every word you say is taken seriously because everyone knows you won't waste air needlessly. People generally judge things superficially, trusting their eyes more than touch, and often assess your significance by how easily they can reach you. By establishing entry filters, you change the rules of the game. By not answering calls instantly and carefully selecting meetings, you make others earn your attention through respect, not through a sense of entitlement. Your involvement becomes a privilege to be earned, not a publicly available resource. Many mistakenly believe that influence depends on frequency of public appearances, trying to participate in every discussion and attend every event. This delusion only leads to loss of authority. True mastery lies not in being everywhere, but in being in the right place at the decisive moment. Chaotic presence makes you invisible, while a strategic approach turns you into a figure impossible to ignore. This tactic requires iron discipline. You need to know how to refuse good opportunities for the sake of great ones, and skip routine events so that your participation in key moments becomes legendary. As a fox needs cunning to avoid traps and a lion needs strength to frighten wolves, so did you need to balance between the roles of observer and leader. When you act selectively, the energy of the space changes with your appearance. But if you're constantly flashing before people's eyes, you inevitably become just part of the furniture. Endless talking only devalues what's said, and the habit of reacting to every external stimulus undermines your authority, making others doubt your seriousness. True mastery of attention management lies not only in the ability to lead a conversation, but also in the capacity to leave at the right moment. After all, it's precisely the person who senses the perfect moment to end the meeting who leaves the strongest impression. Your goal is to make people regret your departure, not anxiously glance at their watches waiting for goodbye.
always choose the moments of your presence consciously. The sixth principle concerns absolute mastery of your emotions, and it's on this battlefield that most people suffer crushing defeat, allowing others' actions to dictate their internal states. People test you daily using an entire arsenal of manipulations. Praise lulls vigilance, criticism forces justification, pressure provokes haste, and flattery breeds carelessness. If you give in to emotional impulse in response to these tricks, you lose the game, handing control to your opponent. Emotional resilience doesn't mean turning into an emotionless robot. The essence is to experience the full spectrum of feelings, but act only when it benefits you. Feeling anger from an insult? Conceal it if displaying rage doesn't bring tactical advantage. Receiving praise? Enjoy it, but don't become dependent on others' approval.
Perceive your emotions as valuable intelligence, not as direct instructions for immediate action, separating authenticity from reactivity. Many mistakenly confuse sincerity with lack of restraint, believing that immediately spilling their feelings makes them honest, when in reality it makes them predictable and easy prey. Machiavelli once noted that whoever wishes to foresee the future must study the past, for human affairs always follow the same eternal patterns. The pattern is unchanging. Those who are led by impulses become puppets, while composed people retain power and influence. In real life, this manifests as follows. When you're provoked to anger for the sake of compromising material, you take a pause and respond thoughtfully, or remain silent altogether. If false urgency is imposed on you or they try to control you through guilt, you ignore artificial deadlines and calmly assess your true interests. This endurance gives you strength. In moments of universal chaos, it's precisely the person who maintains reason that others instinctively turn to as a leader and source of solutions. The seventh point reveals the power of strategic silence, a weapon that most people are panicked about, mistakenly believing that pauses in conversation indicate incompetence. In reality, properly held silence sounds far more convincing than any stream of words, creating space in which others are forced to reveal their true thoughts. Unlike an awkward pause, conscious silence demonstrates your unshakable confidence and complete control over the situation. Use this tool after you've expressed an important thought, allowing it to penetrate your conversation partner's consciousness, or in response to provocative questions, taking time to think. Machiavelli claimed that nothing great is achieved without risk, and strategic silence may indeed seem like a dangerous move, but it grants advantages your opponents aren't prepared for. When noise reigns all around, it's precisely your calmness that will make you the most noticeable figure, forcing others to seek your approval. The most beautiful thing about this tactic is that your opponent's discomfort works for you. Striving to fill the vacuum of silence, people often blurt out too much, revealing their weak points and strategies. While they're nervous and talking, you're analyzing information and becoming stronger, turning each of your words into a significant event. Remember this affirmation: my silence is eloquent, my words carry weight, and my presence commands respect. The eighth rule warns against the mistake that destroys many prospects. Never reveal all your cards and capabilities at once. The desire to demonstrate your full potential for instant recognition only strips you of your aura of mystery and gives ill-wishers the keys to neutralizing your advantages. A wise strategist always keeps an ace up their sleeve, understanding that complete transparency makes a person predictable and therefore vulnerable, while understatement preserves power. Your skills, connections, and resources are personal capital that shouldn't be laid on the table at the first meeting. Never demonstrate the full spectrum of your abilities just to impress someone. Give others exactly as much information as needed to maintain interest, but leave a sense of slight understatement so that no one fully realizes the true scale of your potential. As Machiavelli accurately observed, neglecting harsh reality for idealistic notions leads more to ruin than salvation. Most people mistakenly believe that absolute openness is the key to success, but in reality, this strategy only weakens their position. By keeping part of your capabilities in the shadows, you ensure flexibility, a chance to surprise those who underestimated you, and reliable protection from others' countermeasures.
Here, it's extremely important to understand the fine line. This isn't about deception, but about conscious selectivity in what and when you voice. You answer questions posed to you with complete honesty, but you don't share information that no one requested. And you don't rush to deploy your entire arsenal if the current situation doesn't require it. This principle works universally. It's impossible to copy, steal, or devalue what no one knows about. Your hidden talents become a secret weapon, and resources kept in reserve serve as reliable insurance. People respect what they see, but what truly captivates them is the hidden, and this intrigue generates influence that subsequently transforms into real power. The next key aspect is the art of creating productive uncertainty, which gives you tremendous strategic advantage. Human psychology is such that people tend to make mistakes when they're unsure about a situation, and strong individuals skillfully exploit this. When your moves can't be calculated in advance, others begin doubting their own plans and work much harder to earn your favor. This approach has nothing in common with banal capriciousness. The essence is understanding that absolute predictability breeds laziness in any relationship. If your reactions are known in advance, your partner stops seeing you as a challenge and stops investing effort in the interaction. Strategic uncertainty, however, keeps the dynamic alive, forcing your environment to constantly stay on their toes. Returning to the classics, let's recall the assertion that it's better for a ruler to inspire fear than love if both can be combined. However, in modern realities, there's a deeper truth. Being unpredictable is more effective than being loved or feared, because it's mystery that evokes involuntary respect and makes manipulating you impossible. How best to implement this in practice? Avoid chaos. Act consciously. Vary the speed of your decisions and your emotional temperature. Sometimes it's worth responding instantly and warmly, and sometimes maintaining a significant pause and showing restraint so people don't take your attention for granted but strive to earn it. Remember that your ultimate goal is to maintain lively interest and high engagement, not provoke toxic anxiety. Uncertainty should awaken healthy curiosity, not stress. Therefore, make it a rule to be predictable in your fundamental values, but remain flexible and elusive in the methods of implementing them.
Now let's move to the most difficult stage, the real transformation into a person possessing invisible dominance. This isn't about breaking your character or pretending, but about deep modernization of your life strategy. You're not becoming someone else. You're simply activating the strongest, most effective, and most influential version of your own personality. First, you need to eradicate 3 habits that sabotage your influence: the thirst for constant approval, the compulsive urge to justify yourself, and impulsive emotional reactions. Your value isn't determined by others' opinions, and a firm no sounds convincing enough without extra explanations and apologies. True invulnerability is ensured only by self-control, which is more reliable than any fortress. Make it a rule to pause before important responses, replace statements with questions to control the flow of conversation, and speak with maximum precision, filtering out empty words. Your time and attention are valuable resources that others must earn, not receive by default. Your true goal is to become a figure who invisibly controls the course of events while remaining in the shadows, so that others don't even suspect the real scale of your control. Strive to make people instinctively seek guidance from you and have your opinion carry decisive weight without the need to enter heated arguments or prove your rightness. Your mere presence should change the atmosphere in the room without loud declarations. This is how the mechanism of invisible superiority works. You gain maximum influence and unconditional respect while expending minimum effort and avoiding unnecessary drama. Remember the fundamental truth. Genuine power always acts from behind the curtain, while the imitation of strength needs bright spotlights. While others desperately fight for attention and demand recognition through noise and bustle, you'll be methodically building real authority based on cold calculation. Let others try to subjugate people through crude pressure. Your path is managing situations through the strategy of hidden dominance, which encounters no resistance. It's important to understand that this ability isn't an innate gift or unchangeable character trait.
This is exclusively a skill that can be developed and different to others, and like muscles, it grows stronger with each workout. Every new day provides you with room to maneuver. Every dialogue becomes a chance to hear more than you say yourself. And every decision made turns into an exercise in suppressing emotions in favor of tactics. Use every interaction with the world to hone the art of being impenetrable and mysterious to others. Begin the transformation right now with your next conversation. Instead of trying to make an impression, focus on deeply understanding your conversation partner. Don't rush to fill pauses with words. Learn to use silence as a pressure tool. Most people will never master this science because they're too busy with self-presentation to notice the obvious. True masters of the situation always remain in the shadows, and real influence is born not in shouting, but in the ability to strategically listen and control your own energy without succumbing to external impulses. Now you possess a different vision and realize that your strength lies in mystery, and silence is the most powerful weapon. In a world overflowing with those begging for attention, become that rare exception that receives recognition and power by default, simply by being the hidden driving force of reality. The most dangerous player is always the one who's impossible to read, predict, or control. Therefore, adopt this philosophy as your credo. You are the invisible hand shaping circumstances through strategy and endurance, and this knowledge will make you invulnerable.